Hello. Today I'm going to show you a feature in 1Staff back office that allows you to reorganize your timesheet lines into different batches as you see fit. So the idea behind this is there's a lot of different ways to get timesheets into 1Staff back office. You might use Webtime with an automatic import through the XML import service, or you might use the data import routine. You might bring in some time with Time Entry Express or electronic file import, or there's a variety of ways you might manually enter timesheets, and the people who are entering or importing time don't always know the most efficient way of processing that time. So they're just trying to get the data into the system. And then you have other users who want to batch it in a certain way, and so that they can post and create invoices more efficiently. So this feature is what that's for. So once batches are in an entered status, so they've either been imported or manually entered, they will be in the system. And if you go to the timesheet posting window, as you can see here, you will see all those batches available for posting. So I have maybe 25 or 30 batches in my system right now. I'm just going to show you how the what we call advanced timesheet management works. So for the purposes of this, I'm going to mark all of my batches. Obviously, if you wanted to, you could mark whichever batches you wanted. The idea is whichever batches have the timesheet lines that you want to reorganize into different batches, those are the ones that you would want to select. So for the purposes of this, I'm just going to select everything in the system. So in the timesheet posting window, I'm going to click Mark All. And then I'm going to click Manage. And you'll notice I get this message. It says credit and non-credit batches cannot be selected to manage together. Please select batches of one type and try again. So it's just telling you that if you have credit batches mixed with regular invoice batches, you can't do them both at the same time. So I'm going to click OK. Now, as you can see, I have this one batch down here that is a credit. It's in parentheses. So that tells me it's a credit. So I'm going to unmark that batch, and then I should be good to go. So I'm going to click Manage again. Okay, so now I'm in the timesheet line management window. Batch ID. So all of these lines that I want to pull out of existing batches and put into a new batch, I need to give it a new batch ID. So this is going to be the timesheet batch ID I want for those lines that I'm reorganizing. So I will just call it new batch 1. And you could name it with the current date or however you do your naming that lets you know what's in that batch is what I would recommend here. The batch date and the transaction date. So anyone who's used 1Staff back office is familiar with those dates on the timesheet entry window. So you would set those accordingly here, however you want those set. Just make sure that you set them the way that you want. For the purposes of this, I'm just going to set them to today's date. If I could type, that would be excellent. Same for the transaction date. Okay, so now you have your ranges. So if I click the ranges drop down, I might have brought in a bunch of time for a specific customer. So maybe I want to isolate that customer. So I'm just going to go down here and choose this Cellular Express. And I want to insert that customer. So it's automatically going to update the data in the bottom of the window. And then maybe I brought everything in for a bunch of different invoice frequencies, but now I want to isolate only the weekly invoice frequencies for this customer. So if I click the ranges drop down again, I'll grab invoice frequency. I'm going to choose my weekly. And these are from and to ranges. I'm only using a single value for each one, but if you had ranges, as long as they're in the order that you see them, it's going to pull everything from that range. So I'm going to insert this. Now you can see there was about 35 to 40 timesheet lines before, and now I only have 6 lines that match for my customer and that are also weekly. So now I have these 6 lines. in your system, depending on your volume, you're probably going to have a lot more than that you're bringing in. I mean, you might have tens of thousands of timesheet lines per week. So you're going to see a lot more data, but the concept is the same. So I am going to, once you have everything set and you want to process that time into a new batch, I would click process. So you can see at the left here, this data is represented in 4 different batches. When I click process, it's going to pull these 6 lines out of these 4 different batches, and it's going to push them into my the batch ID I gave for my new batch, which I just called new batch 1. So I'm going to click process, and now you're just left with, the rest of the data is left behind, and the timesheet lines that I isolated are pushed into the new batch. So now if I close this window and I go back to my timesheet posting window, you can see I have this new batch 1, I have its 6 entries, and now I can go ahead and I could mark this. It's going to ask me if I want to process it through rules processing, because I have that turned on, and it knows that I haven't done that yet. So from here, everything's the same. You would post and invoice your batches. Obviously, you could run rules processing before you post, but that is the advanced timesheet management. You can reorganize your batches however you want, push them into new batches so that your efficiency with processing, posting, and invoicing, that's kind of what this was designed for, is to improve the efficiency of that process. Thank you.